Theseus, an iconic figure in Greek mythology, was known for his prowess that seemed to stem from a divine origin. He defeated enemies such as centaurs, Amazons, and most notably, the fearsome Minotaur of Crete. One day, Pirithous, tempted by Theseus' renown and wealth, wanted to steal his flock. However, fate interceded surprisingly. There was a mutual recognition of bravery and honor when they met face to face, instead of a deadly battle that would be expected of others. Their gazes crossed and they saw in each other a kindred spirit. They became inseparable allies from adversaries, pledging fidelity and a friendship that would last forever. As time progressed, Theseus felt that his splendorous youth was behind him. He no longer possessed the same agility and vigor as before, and his hair began to turn silver, relentlessly signaling the onset of his aging. Faced with this reality, and with the desire to relive moments of yesteryear, Theseus decided to take the initiative, seeking new adventures and challenges that would put him to the test, to prove that he was still capable of facing the most challenging enemies that life could present to him. The hero, feeling dissatisfied with his existence, decided to meet with his loyal friend Pirithous. Together they decided to embark on a journey in search of adventures that would give a new purpose to their lives. After traversing many difficult roads, they finally reached Spartan lands, under the rule of King Tyndareus. There, they decided to settle down for a while, debating on the direction they should take to find exciting experiences. On the eve of their departure, they chose to join a great festivity that attracted the entire local population. Everywhere they went, they found an abundance of delicious food and wine, an indulgence they could not resist, and immersed themselves in the pleasures of the feast. In the center of town, they could not help but be captivated by a group of dazzlingly beautiful young dancers, and both friends were tempted to approach. As the party continued smoothly, one young woman in particular made her appearance, whose beauty eclipsed all others. Helena carried with her the legend of being a descendant of the queen and the mighty Zeus. Her long golden hair fell gracefully over her shoulders, revealing a face with features worthy of celestial beings. Despite her youth, her presence radiated a magnetism that captivated the eyes of those who saw her. Theseus was not immune to her beauty and, with the complicity of Pirithous, orchestrated a plan to abduct her. But once they achieved their goal, a disagreement arose over who would have the honor of betrothing her. Finally, they left their fate in the hands of chance, and fate favored Theseus. However, Pirithous felt that an injustice had been done to him. He longed for an equally splendid companion of divine lineage. So, he asked Theseus to help him find someone as impressive as Helen, who also had the blood of Zeus in her veins. The elder Theseus did not hesitate to accept, but they soon realized that no woman on earth could compare with Helen's dazzling beauty. After much deliberation over who might be the ideal choice, Pirithous settled on the beautiful goddess Persephone, believing she would be the perfect match. However, there was an obstacle in his way. Persephone was already united in marriage to Hades, the lord of the Underworld. Despite knowing Persephone's relationship with Hades, they were not discouraged. They had a goal and were willing to face any challenge to achieve it. Theseus entrusted his mother with the care of Helen, waiting for her to grow up so he could marry her. Wasting no time, the two heroes ventured into the dark realm of the Underworld. Confident and courageous, they were sure they could achieve what they sought, remembering how they had previously triumphed in Sparta with Helen. When they arrived, they traversed the shadowy lands of the Underworld until they reached the imposing abode of Hades. Their strategy was clear: to present themselves as casual messengers with news direct from Olympus. Once inside, their goal was to capture Hades, kidnap his wife, and escape undetected to the surface. But Hades, with his cunning, sensed that something was amiss from the start. So, he devised a ruse to confirm the real intentions of his unexpected visitors. He offered them a splendid feast, claiming that he wished to hear the message they brought. The unsuspecting heroes, exhausted and hungry from their journey, agreed without imagining that they were about to enter into a dangerous game. As the dinner passed, they delighted their palates with the delicacies and beverages presented to them, filling themselves with energy for the confrontation they had in mind. And when they felt ready and revitalized, they decided to rise to face Hades. but, to their bewilderment, they found that they were restrained to the chairs in which they had been sitting. At that precise moment, they realized that their plan had been unraveled. Angry at the actions of the two men, the Lord of the Deep demanded to know their intentions for his precious consort. Upon discovering the atrocity they had engineered, he chose to bind them in chains and condemn them to be held captive in his dark realm indefinitely. There, in the desolate domain, they would be trapped with no opportunity to leave, watching the inexorable passage of time, while wrinkles marked their faces and there was no hope of relief. Sometime later, in one of his many exploits, Hercules would embark on the task of capturing Cerberus, marking his 12th feat. During his journey, Hercules encountered Theseus and Pirithous, who, in chains, looked desolate and aged, prisoners of the severe punishment imposed by Hades for their daring attempt. The brave warrior, moved by their situation, decided to help them. He began by freeing Theseus, an action he carried out with relative ease. However, when he tried to save Pirithous, a violent shaking of the ground warned him that he had to abandon this enterprise since he did not have divine approval. With regret, Hercules returned to the world of the living with his mission completed, taking with him a liberated Theseus. According to ancient stories, Pirithous still lies imprisoned in that gloomy place, suffering for his reckless deed. Some versions even indicate that Cerberus ended up devouring him. Theseus returned to the earthly world, weakened and aged, only to discover that his beloved Helen had been saved by his brothers Castor and Pollux, thus dealing a final setback to a life marked by heroism, which would lead to a lonely decline.